Well, good morning. I'm Rob Weise, and I work with the Forest Lakes District staff, and I'm privileged to be with children's ministry leaders from around the district. And as I was mentioning before we started, I'm really glad that you all showed up here, because it would have been kind of lonely with me just twiddling my thumbs by myself trying to talk children's ministry. So it's great to have all of you here. I'm going to open in prayer, and then I'm just going to share a short devotional, and then we're going to jump into best practices for children's ministry around the district. So let me pray. God, thank you for this morning. Thank you for your love for us. Thank you for this opportunity to connect and just be about your work. And we want to be encouraged this morning as we leave here and as we work together on some things. How do we reach our families and our children during this time, unprecedented time? And God, we're going to trust you in all of this. We're going to be encouraged that we can bring hope to people, Lord. We know many people are searching for that, and may we be quick to share the love and the light that you've given in and through us. So we ask for your blessing on this time together. It's in your name we pray, Jesus. Amen. All right, I just want to share one verse. First of all, I want to encourage you that you are a message of hope to people in your churches. I don't know if you realize this. A friend of mine shared this verse with me, Proverbs chapter 16, verse 24. Pleasant words are honeycomb, sweet to the soul and healing to the bones. And I just want to encourage you. I thought that was really good. What we can give to people in this really challenging time is we can help their soul. We can help them think through just the hope that they have in the Lord Jesus Christ. I also love the story of Jesus and the disciples in Mark 4, where they have this storm that comes up when they're out in the boat. And as the storm comes up, Jesus and his disciples are in the boat, and they wake them up. They're scared. They're fearing all of this, what's going on. And Jesus just wakes up, calms everything down, and he says, hey, don't you trust me in this? And I think part of it for us, you go to chapter 5, and chapter 5, verse 1 says, and they arrived on the other side. And I think it's good. That's where we are right now, is trusting God in the storm of this whole thing. And I love what happens in verse 2 of chapter 5. Immediately, guess what happens? Jesus is back doing ministry, and he runs into a demon-possessed person, and so it's interesting. We're going to get through this, but I just love that we have this unique opportunity to really encourage people. Your ministry, children's ministry, is very unique, though. Very hard. I have some churches that are doing nothing. There are some that are trying really hard to connect with families, and there's others that are creating tons of programming. I want to share ideas this morning with each of us, what you're doing for a strategy. So if you would, we're going to just jump in. I'm not going to necessarily call on anybody. Just unmute yourself, and we'll try to show as best etiquette as we can. And we'll just walk through, what are you doing for strategy in your church right now? And I also have a couple of ideas that I found on the internet that I think have been helpful as I've been talking to people, but would love to throw this open. So I'm going to mute myself, and you jump in, what you're doing, who you are and what you're doing.
I can go first. So my name is Jesse Herr. I'm the children's pastor at the Platteville Evangelical Free Church. So I've been there full-time just a few months, but a little over a year and a half almost. So I guess also father of 3 boys, married to my wife for about 11 years. So as we've kind of moved into this whole new phase of ministry, I kind of joked it's just started full-time, and then it's like everything changes. And so it's been quite a learning curve, I think, for everybody, but for myself. So we kind of have been focused on just providing some content on Sunday mornings. We use Orange Curriculum, and they've done a great job of providing some free resources. So we've been able to package those together through like a MailChimp email, and then we send that out, share it through Facebook. And then I also upload the videos to YouTube. So they have 3 different age groups. We're reaching would be like the pre-K, and then we do an elementary and then a preteen. So besides that, on the Sunday morning, we've also kind of just reached out to our volunteers that we're helping, asking them to pick several families that maybe they had connections with the children, and try to reach out occasionally. Not trying to overload volunteers at all, just saying if you have extra time availability, to reach out and make that connection through technology, through sending a card, whatever they're comfortable with. Yeah, and I guess otherwise, just a lot of prayer. I think that's kind of where we've landed at this point. We're starting to look at some other ideas and what else can we do, but we haven't moved to that point yet. I think it's just kind of seeing how long does this stretch out, and how else can we, I mean, we've kind of throughout the whole church divided up and tried to reach out to everybody through families, if there's a need, if there's a practical way that we can help to pray for them. And so just seeing what else does that look like. So thanks.
Excellent. Thanks, Jesse. We'll just keep rolling along and share your ideas. I love that. Maybe about 2-3 minutes we'll each share so we get enough time. And then what I'd like to do after we get through this time, then we'll open it up to questions you might have here towards the end also.
I'll go next. So my name is Kirstin Bare, and I work up in Wausau, Wisconsin with Highland Community Church. And so I also have some really great teammates to get to work with, and DeBroux, so I'm going to tell them to wave, and Jessica Leptine, and then Maggie's video is not showing. But together we've been able to put our minds together, because I'll tell you, more together is better. And we've created this thing called Next Gen Family Time. Our ministry is called Next Generation. And so we are copying our Wednesday night program, One Way Club, and kind of trying to bring it into the home. So we've used similar structure, and it's kind of like a Google slideshow with some slides with various activities telling kids what to do. There's always a Bible video lesson done by one of the 4 of us. And then we also throw in like a fun little video announcement. One time we did it as if we were newscasters, another time a cooking show. And then we usually have a Bible memory verse activity, because we're trying to still encourage them to memorize Bible verses, which they would have done at One Way Club. And another craft idea, and a way of praying in a creative way. And so then we have been posting that on our Next Gen Family YouTube channel. And so if you're interested in viewing any of them, we can sure put a link in the chat area. And then I'm going to stay quiet and let my coworkers share about what else our church is doing.
In addition to that, Pastor Jeff here had asked for daily devotionals. So as children's team, we've been breaking up the days Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, since Wednesday is when we put out our Next Gen Family Time. So we each broke down a day. So Miss Maggie has Mondays, I have Tuesdays, Kirstin has Thursdays, and Pastor Adam has Friday. And then we do like a 3-minute, 5-minute little Devo, and it's just a nice variety. And last week we focused on all our Devos on Holy Week. So yeah, anything to add, Adam and Maggie? Oh yeah, and then yeah, Adam I see is unmuted, so.
Yeah, I was going to say all of those things seem like they're going well and serve different families and different needs. The big program on Wednesdays reaches a lot of people, and I think our mini Devos are geared towards different ages, so it gives us one connection point with different ages, which has been great. Another thing, besides contacting all of our members on a regular basis, I know at our smaller campuses it's maybe a little bit more feasible, but I've been doing video chats with all the kids at our Merrill campus, and that has been not only really rewarding, but also a good connection point. I think the kids are just amazed that someone is reaching out to talk to them rather than parents or whatever, just kind of being quiet or in the background. But that's been really exciting and fun. You get to see how kids, they act very different in home, and you kind of get a little bit better sense of who they are at home, even if it's on a video chat. So that's all I have to add.
Kirstin is also sending out, is it Saturdays, the bulletins for Sunday's lessons. I don't know if you mentioned that. sorry.
Or I post them on the website on Thursday. It kind of varies depending on the week. So
Yes.
as well, yeah.
One of the things you'll notice in this Zoom call is we're from all different sizes of churches. And so you can see Highland, wow, quite a comprehensive program. You have Jesse who's by himself there. And so I think one of the things I want to encourage each one of us is don't be overwhelmed. I think you have to figure out what you can do in especially if you've got kids at home and you're working part-time or whatever you're doing. I think it's important to do what you can do. And I love the strategy that I'm hearing from a lot of our churches that are dividing up families and trying to just see how they're doing. I think some of the greatest questions you can ask are, how are you doing? And then ask, how can we pray for you? And just those are the kind of things that's just very small in the middle of this. And is there anything we can help you with? And because I think at this time, it's driving a lot of things differently. People are home more. I would imagine we have our grandkids here 2 to 3 days a week right now. We're homeschooling them, which is kind of unique because our daughter's working. And so it creates some time for us to, I'll take an hour and we'll go for a bike ride. We'll see if we go today. We got 5 inches of snow here in Wause yet. And so it's like, do we get on a bike ride? And then every chance I'm with the kids, we're trying to talk about life lessons and things we can do together and just try to minister to them in many ways. It's kind of a fun role as a grandparent right now. All right, let's go on. Who else would like to share?
Hey there, my name is Jesse Eells. I'm a family pastor at Hope Community Church in Manitowoc, and we're about 400-ish, 500. And what I've been doing, my job kind of has shifted a lot to media, video, producing video stuff for helping the weekly videos for our connection for the pastors, kind of helping with that, recording the services. We kind of record them and then put them up for Sunday. And the last couple of weeks, 2 weeks, we started doing a kids program, and it's about 30 minutes long. It's Hope Kids, kind of with the elements that we do on a normal Sunday morning for kindergarten through 5th grade, and putting that together with the Heyo videos from Saddleback, which are great little short animated videos. They've allowed us to use those until January 1st or June 1st, they said, which is, again, it's great. A lot of the organizations, the companies are allowing, you know, the copyright to be kind of forgiven for a little bit, which is really helpful. But we've had a really good connection with that. I've kind of filmed it, of course, with the kids in our new area, in our fellowship area. We put together a little kids corner in there, and it's kind of like a little studio. So they're, you know, familiar with that. They just kind of enjoy playing with that. And so I have some little animation puppet stuff and just things to, again, help them connect familiar faces and with their environment here at the church. So been able to do that. That's been good. The pre-K, my person over at pre-K, she's been sending out weekly emails with the pre-K lesson kind of stuff, and just suggestions. Again, hey parents, this is suggestions. You can use this, because we're all getting bombarded with everybody and everything that we're, you know, a member of, saying, hey, you could be doing this, this, and this. So just trying to be aware of parents, you know, they're being overwhelmed with stuff too, and say, hey, here's some opportunities, and been getting some good feedback on that. So yeah, and then I help out with our youth group video too. We've been trying different things for Wednesday nights, pre-recorded stuff, and Zoom or Kahoot game. They did a Kahoot thing the other week, and this week they're just doing a Zoom call just like this to again allow connection. So helping facilitate that. So that's about all from me. Thanks for the ideas, and Rob, thanks for doing this, getting us connected. Appreciate it.
I'll go next. I'm Norv Brown from Bethany Church in La Crosse. Basically, everything that you guys have said is what it kind of echoes in one form or another. Probably our greatest emphasis is trying to get mom and dad or grandma and grandpa to sit down with the kids and to do something. So just as has been implied, we are doing a weekly video address, about 30 minutes, but we've called it Kid Stuff TV, and something that the kids and the parents can look at. We've tried it at different times. We now are releasing it Sunday mornings at 11 o'clock. We're streaming our service from 9:30. And so the families are together for the most part during that. We ask them to hang in there and go to Kid Stuff TV so that parents and kids are doing something. Because generally during the services, the kids are probably doing something else, running around, not as focused anyway. We're concerned about Awana. We were just this morning on a call asking, so when do we pull the plug? When do we officially end what they're working on with their sections, all those little issues? And I think we've decided probably the end of April is when we're pulling the plug, because we expect that if things open up, they're probably not going to open up as much to the church as they're going to open up to sports and summer events and those types of things. So we don't want to be in a competitive element, but rather a supportive element. And so we're moving that direction. And then as well, boy, you guys are well aware, there is so much online right now that everybody's doing. And probably the greatest concern I have with that is it's going to just overwhelm parents and families. It's like a plethora of stuff coming. So we're trying to be supportive to tell parents it's there, be aware of it, but we're not trying to shove it down their throats per se. They've got a lot on their plates as well, and they're trying to develop their children and trying to follow up school, and it's a difficult time. I've been at this about 50 years, and in the process, I never dreamed that I would have seen something that's going on today. You guys are in a very unique situation, but you're going to be able to tell great stories for years to come.
Boy, Norv, that is just incredible advice and even help as you think through things, and appreciate the years of experience. And one of the reasons in the chat section that I'm putting everybody's email is we can connect with guys like Norv. Hey, Norv, I got challenges. I mean, as a district, I get calls a lot about different things, and man, having a guy like Norv available to talk to somebody is really great. So appreciate your insight there, Norv, even to the sports idea. I hadn't thought of that, and that's really helpful to think through. Do we want to compete? What's it going to look like when it does open up? Who's next?
I can go next. I'm Kristina. I'm at Door Creek Church in Madison, and we are doing a lot of what you guys are doing too, connecting with families and our volunteers personally. And we've tried, again, like talking about not inundating parents, because that's the overwhelming message that when we're reaching out to parents, that they're just, I think now that kids are starting to get into, at least in our house here, starting to get into routines with learning online, we really want our families at Door Creek to know that we're in a routine. So every Wednesday morning, we post a story time video that has just a very brief devotional. And that's geared for preschool, early elementary. Then we have our weekend pre-K video, which is orange, first look, but we put together a parent guide that kind of takes the curriculum and brings it down to a level that parents could just read off of. There's a scripted prayer even if they wanted to do that, if they felt uncomfortable, because we've got really like established families and we have very new families as well, from all backgrounds. So we do that for pre-K, and then we also do that for elementary, and we use Gospel Project for that. And their licensing is just slightly different. So we produce a full, between my associate director and our coordinator at our DeForest campus, we produce a large group experience that we post online usually our weekend programming happens on Saturday. We post that on Saturday because we don't want to compete with big church services that are streamed. Parents can utilize that. They know it's coming. It's emailed via Constant Contact, but then also on our Facebook page, and all of the campuses then share that. We're working really closely as as our 3 campuses that were pretty much doing the same things and working collaboratively. You mentioned Awana, and we have Cubbies. We just kind of said we're kind of done with Cubbies. We're encouraging parents to continue through their books. But our Sparks and TNT kiddos, their small group leaders are reaching out to them every Tuesday night. That's when we hold Awana. And so they are able to still continue with their books. It's not the same, it's not ideal, but at least for those that are on that Timothy Award track can still work toward that if they want to. I think we've had some families that have opted out and just said, nope, we're done. We also do, we have a sports ministry director, and he's doing a Facebook Live kids workout every Thursday. And then that just stays posted to our Facebook page, which is really fun. It's different. And Eric has his son, Isaac, as his little model doing the workouts. And yeah, so I think weekend programming and for elementary and pre-K, and then our story time, sports ministry, and we're just kind of playing it by ear, but hopefully feeling like we're getting into a routine so that parents are knowing when things are coming out and what is available. So, yeah.
I can go next. I'm Robyn Foye. I am at First Free Church in Onalaska in the La Crosse area. And we've just been putting out kids content for the weekends. So our 2-year-old nursery consistent teacher recorded herself doing like 6 weeks worth of little lessons, just 2-minute things, and then her song time in a separate video. So we've been pushing those out to parents on Saturday afternoons via email and our Facebook page. And then we partner with Discovery Land, and so they have done a phenomenal job videotaping lessons and worship and the activity time, which I've been able to push out. So as far as content, it's consistent. It's just in homes now. And that has a preschool component to it too. So being a larger church, a lot of my focus, like my volunteer team is about 60 people. So a lot of my focus has been encouraging them to, I've had a couple teachers do postcards, a couple write emails that I then can push out just to their class, helping them connect, because there's no way that I can connect with all the kids. So I've been reaching out to some key families and just encouraging them to almost develop like little small group communities, like decide with a few families that you're close with, you know, we have a 1 or 2, so a lot of the families are connected that way. Decide when you're going to watch it and connect on FaceTime or Zoom and kind of watch it together, do the activity together. Just kind of facilitating, here are your options for connecting with each other. Use Zoom, use Messenger Kids, just kind of those options. And another thing that I have been doing is getting my volunteer teams together. We have 3 services, so getting each of my 3 teams together on Zoom to just kind of chat. How are you? How can we be praying? We just get a prayer time together. And as far as Awana goes, Jenny and Paul Fisher are our Awana directors, and they have done an amazing job like taping the lessons, and they're going forward with theme night. They're using YouTube to push the videos out. So they've been trying to kind of keep the consistency with that program. Our spring break was the first week that we were closed, so that kind of gave them an extra week to get things kind of get their feet steady with that. But yeah, everything has just been kind of videotaped and pushed out, and just really connecting with individuals. Our youth pastor and I are both teachers. Well, not teachers now, but we're teachers in the past. I was elementary, as was he. So we have been also fielding questions and doing some video support for parents as far as like, what does this even look like at home? Realistic expectations that like, you don't have to be your child's teacher. Like, here's ways you can support, here's the main focus. And yeah, so just kind of being available to them.
I guess I can go next. I'm Becky. I'm from Heartland, Wisconsin, Oakwood Church, and we use the True curriculum. And it's not a video based curriculum. And so what we've done is I usually do each week, I focus on Sunday. Our Wednesday program, we've really just put on hold. Unfortunately, we got through the Old Testament, but we didn't get through the New Testament for our books of the Bible study. So we'll do that at another time. But our focus has been on Sundays. We do a weekly email on Tuesdays. So I'm going to have to cut out of here soon because I still have some video content I need to do to get that weekly email. We pre-teach each week. So all of my content for this coming Sunday will go out today at some point, and parents can use that at any time they want. I typically do an intro video just to introduce it. And then I also add support videos as they're available. If parents don't want to read through the scripture or read through, because with True, it's been really great. I can send them like here's the lesson if you want to teach it. But otherwise I put some videos in there if they want to do that, if it's easier. And I have done preschool and elementary all in one instead of trying to do separate lessons for everybody. And that's okay. And then I also add a lot of different options for families based on their child's learning styles and also the phase that they're in. So if they want an experiment, here's an experiment that'll teach the lesson. Here's a craft project. I'm going to be doing a slime video for this weekend. So we're going to make fluffy cloud slime for the Ascension. But just things like that I can demonstrate, they can do themselves. Families can sign up by Thursday at noon if they want to pick up a learning packet. So if they don't have options to print something off, we will do that in the office. My assistant will go in, she'll print it off, and they can pick it up in a separate container outside church. And so we've had families do that, and they're so cool. We have a Family Life Facebook page that we post all of our videos to, and they respond with photos. It's been pretty cool. This last weekend, we did Easter to go boxes. So I did pizza boxes for families. We had families from all over our community, and they had the content, all sorts of fun surprises, and that was a huge thing. It was fun to make Easter special for families and watch them teach or kids teach. It was super fun. I'm also starting this week a weekly book reading, getting permission from authors to do that. So that'll launch Thursday, and being able to customize the books for the kids. The first book that I'm doing is called What Am I Feeling? And really, I know our youth pastor went on to do an intro video, and he's like, hey, this is for kids, but adults, this is really, because it's been helpful for me too, because we're all going through big feelings, and getting that out to kids. So I don't know if it'll be a support to families, but I don't want to overwhelm them. But if this can be something that will help their kids and help them, then I'm happy to do it. We're doing the cards and the emails as well, just like many of you. I've got volunteers who are sending those out personally. I'm also connecting with my kids with Marco Polo and Messenger Kids. One of my kids just messaged me while I'm on the video here. So that's been fun to chat with them in their own world, and I'm learning a lot from them. But that's kind of what we're doing right now. And it's been fun to see all of you and hear what you're doing. Thank you for sharing.
Who else wants to share? I know Dave Bonnetson, you want to share Woodlands, what you guys are doing?
Yeah, I was about to, but I thought Kristen was talking. Were you talking, Kristen? On mute? Were you? Jessica's talking on mute now too. So we're all
It's because we're technically in the same room right now.
Oh, you're right next to each other.
Nice. I love it.
Good 6 feet away though. That's good.
Yep.
Oh man, what a world. No, it's so cool hearing what you guys are doing and what's going on. I'm at Woodlands Church. I think I'm thankful. One of the first things we did, we were on spring break when all of this stuff happened. And I sent out an email to families just saying, what do you want from me? And it was a survey. And that was really helpful because I was surprised that at that stage, they were more open to really regular content than I expected them to be open to. And so I've just kind of followed in the coattails of what our church is doing, which is really driving reading, biblical reading with our church Bible reading plan. And so I've been posting daily Bible readings with the kids, where we're just doing our church's reading plan, which was through Luke up until the crucifixion. And now we're in Acts, which is a really, really neat time to be processing what does it look like for the church to figure out what the heck the church is doing. And so the videos end up being about 10 minutes, and I read a portion of the chapter, and then offer some thoughts, and then spend time praying. And there's an opportunity for kids to submit prayer requests to do that too. And I've been surprised and really blessed by the number of families that have engaged in that. One of the big things that I've stressed to my staff and to myself, I've had to preach this a ton to myself. Jesse, you mentioned not having expectations in the right place for what families engage with, and not inundating. It's been something that I've heard too. And I've really, really wanted to give families a ton of grace. I am not driving anything they have to do by any stretch of the imagination, but I'm offering it, and in that I've been really blessed by how many families have found that beneficial to build into their regular rhythm. And it helps that our church as a whole is pushing that same model for adults. So a lot of families are saying parents can be listening to these daily devotional feedback concepts for adults while kids are doing the same thing. And that's given me an opportunity to get a lot of volunteers involved too, because there've been a lot of volunteers reaching out saying, how can we stay connected to the kids? So they'll send in those readings to me. Our regular midweek program, Kids Crossing, we had been experimenting this year with a model where we actually did it at home once a month. So we canceled all regular Tuesday night programming and just sent kids at home and did it via video. And that was a huge blessing, because we've been playing with this for a year for what it looks like. And so we're still producing that. We're going to do that through May. And the basic idea is that I produce about a 15-minute video for families that they watch it together. And it'll be maybe 3 minutes of me talking, and then I give them an activity. I say pause, and they go do the activity, come back, and just build it out like that. It's similar to a lot of what people are doing, I think, but the rhythm fit in really well. So that's been good. We have seen a decrease in that engagement over the 4 weeks that we've been at home now, and I'm wondering if that will continue. And if that continues, I'm not going to try pushing that just for the sake of pushing it, because I want to provide resources that are helpful to families. Volunteers are submitting Sunday content, which we're having some engagement with, but I really want to see families, especially with younger elementary and older elementary kids, focusing on attending Sunday service together too, and engaging in that. So I'm hoping to produce some material for families to talk about that together down the road too. But yeah, I mean, grace, a lot of grace, a lot of trying to be really consistent in what we produce, because rhythms and routines are really helpful for families right now, and not having high expectations has been our way. We had the benefit too of having Facebook groups for parents already, private Facebook community groups. So there's been some good engagement in those as parents have wrestled with what to do and how to do it. But there you go.
Well, I've been trying to type some of what you guys have put on here. I'm thankful that we're recording this, and I'll have some notes after this also for us. Does anyone else want to share what they're doing that hasn't had a chance yet? And then I'm going to move us to a Q&A time. What questions do you have? So anybody else want to share that hasn't had a chance yet? I do have one, Eric Barlow. Eric's from Kenosha Bible Church, and he didn't get a chance. They have a staff meeting going on. As you can imagine, I'm sure you guys are meeting as staffs at different time, but Eric said this from Kenosha Bible. He said, I saw a need for a break for parents and a need for kids to move. So I started a Zoom daily exercise class for the kids. What surprised me was what I thought I would only get a handful of kids, but instead I'm getting anywhere from 10 to 30 joining me, and it's not just kids, but parents as well. We do it every day for 30 minutes at 10 a.m., except on Tuesdays. We meet at 9. I have people who don't come to the church join us. At the end, I pray with them and then end up talking to the different kids that want to hang out afterwards. He said, I'm not an Easter egg hunt kind of guy, but I did a virtual resurrection Easter egg hunt just to get families out of the house. It went over really well. They would drive from house to house looking for one big egg. When they got there, they would drive up next to the curb and scan the QR code, and it would pop up a video with a resurrection clue. And at the end, they sent the kids an Amazon gift card, e-gift card. Families really enjoyed it, and also seeing each other, even if they were just from the car. They want to do it now for Christmas. We're recording our weekly Awana lessons and posting them for the kids to watch. As for Sunday morning, I put together our curriculum on a Google Doc and a training video on how to use it, and the parents are responding for teaching that. I guess the biggest challenge for me, Eric said, was not to overburden the parents with more things to do, but to equip them to be spiritual champions. I also tell them that we're here to support the parent, not replace the parent. This is a time where we can be very easy to mess that up. What I have found is that parents are having more meaningful and deeper conversations with their children than previously, and that excites me, Eric says. Now, they contact me for resources and a question, rather, you need to do a virtual Sunday morning class. So those are the things that Eric's doing down at Kenosha, which is kind of a neat to hear how he's doing. So anybody else before we move to some question Q&A time? Let's do that. What questions do you have from each other? What a tremendous opportunity we have to be together. I hope we can do this more. And I'm thinking maybe we can do a rhythm of once a month or once every 3 weeks. I mean, this has not always been the easiest group to get together. We try to do it at our FLD conferences, but you're all busy and a lot going on. And I'm hoping we can do more of this. So what questions do you have? I'm going to mute myself again and we'll just throw out questions and let's do a little Q&A. Dave.
I'm physically raising my hand. I definitely have a question. Rob, I'm pointing at you, Rob, on my video. The Carrie Nieuwhof article recently about the increase in church growth. I don't know if you guys saw that. It's a really fascinating article that more than 50% of churches right now are experiencing positive growth in online engagement. And it's really hit me right now that we're going to have families connecting with our content that have never connected with our church, even local families. And I've realized I have zero connection strategies for those families right now. Have any of you guys wrestled with that, thought about that, developed any connection strategies for new families, what that would look like right now?
That's a great question because it's been going through my head too. But what our student ministry pastor has done for their online, and we just in children's ministry, we haven't done this yet, but he has, every time they do their online, their teaching on, I think it's Wednesday nights, they post those, their live stream. They have a form that new people can connect. Like it's just a simple form, and then they can personally connect with them. So we're trying to figure out if we can do something similar for children's. But yeah, that's a great conundrum.
It's not a question I would have asked yesterday, honestly. But Carrie's article was good, and have you guys? I guess the other thing, I always get wary of reading national level articles and then building local ministry responses based off of that. Have you guys seen new families connecting or any level of engagement outside of your local church?
For us, we have like on our Sunday morning services, our adult services, and I'm not sure about the kids services, but when people check in the chat, like, oh yeah, that's this person's friend or this is neighbor or whatever. So we have seen that. But yeah, great question of how to get the when this is over, how to translate that into continual follow up with those people that are watching our church's services or connecting or seeing it on Facebook for the first time, yeah, it'd be great to figure out how to take the next step of get them physically in the door. And I think honestly we'll probably be doing a lot more even online after this anyway, just because of we've all kind of jumped into it and it's there, and then now we're seeing that people are connecting with the churches more than they have because of it. Again, we've seen that. So I think it'll change the way we do church to following this for us. It can kind of force some of us to do the online thing, but yeah, great question.
Dave, I'll respond this way, that I've been talking to a number of churches, and I think the question you're asking is a good one. I also think it's a hard one because how do you get the information unless they're willing to, at some point, like you said, Kristina, fill out something. What are they going to fill out? And so another thing that's going on is financially, how are we asking for money? I mean, online giving, some churches have no online giving. And so they've had to transition to that. Even in this idea of contact, I had a church that's normally 120, two of them that are about in that area. One had 700 hits last week on their website. The other one had 1,500. Now, that could be multiple people, but it does raise the question of, wow, this is an unprecedented time, like you said, Dave, that we've never, we got all these new people that are checking us out. My neighbor, 2 houses down the block, watched the service from Weise for the first time and loved it. And guess what? They were back this week again. And so it's just interesting. And so I think asking these questions and thinking them through, Dave, and I think if any of us come up with ideas, certainly let's share them. But I think the only thing you can do is, like you said, put something online, have a place to connect. I think if you know someone that knows someone, like you mentioned, then maybe we can have them be the initiator of trying to contact them for us. Because I think a lot of us are doing that with our volunteers. So if we're all on the lookout, if someone brings a friend, we could say, hey, make sure you're the one helping them to connect with the church somehow. Because I think otherwise it's kind of limited, to be my thought.
One thing that we've been doing, Dave, and that this wasn't necessarily driven toward people who are tuning in for the first time, but it's been helpful. We have assigned a few of our pastors for each of the live streams on Facebook, kind of to be virtual hosts. So as people are signing on, because, it pops up like so-and-so is watching, whether we know them or we don't, one of us will by name say, hey, welcome, thanks for joining us today. And that has kind of facilitated a few, just like the start of some conversation. Oh, I'm tuning in from here, or, my son and daughter go to your church and I'm watching. So, the hard thing is to know where they're from or not. We've had a huge increase in like our online engagement and who is watching, but like our techie guys are going, oh, there's people watching from Washington State, like all over. So at that point, you're just really glad that they're getting, they're getting the word. But that's something that we've done, just made a big deal. We can't do that with our app or, anybody not watching, but Facebook has been a good platform to just connect individually as they're hopping in.
Good. Any other questions that you want to ask? Dave, you didn't have to start with such a hard question right away,
I'm looking for some ideas. It's just, we've had 2 pretty tragic deaths for families with young kids in the last couple of weeks. One was a family, they have 1st and 4th grader in our program. Dad's been fighting cancer for years and lost that battle 2 weeks ago. And then the other was one of our 5th grade girls whose grandma has brought her faithfully Sunday and Wednesday for years and years. Her mom got back recently from a recovery program and overdosed. Like they found her in the middle of the night. And I have just been wrecked on how to try to support these families adequately in a time that you can't just walk into their kitchen, or shouldn't just, walk into their kitchen and sit with them. And so I've been calling and checking in and praying. I've dropped off meals on the front porch, but how else do you support those families like that? I'll take any ideas.
I think one of my thoughts, Robyn, would be is whoever has relationship with them would be the right ones. Like I love what you've already said about, the food and making available. it takes relationship in order to have connection with people. And so I don't know if there are other people like you that have those connections, but that would be my thought, is have them try to connect. If the child that lost mom, what children are connected, and maybe those families can somehow even connect and figure out, how they can help and serve. This is going to be a tough one. This is another tough question, that's for sure.
Yeah, I've done a couple of FaceTime videos with the one family and called the other one, but yeah, I'm just kind of at a loss because it feels like you're not doing enough, but yet you're kind of limited.
I'm going to guess that you're doing more than anyone. Okay. And so I would say keep doing what you can do also. Maybe others have other ideas, but I mean, it's a head scratcher. It's hard because some people just want privacy at this time too.
I certainly would agree with the factor that some do want privacy. There's great sorrow involved. The fact that you FaceTimed them, the fact that you reached out to them says a lot, speaks volumes to them. But additionally, you might be the perfect individual to know of other resources that you can connect them to. And so it may not all be coming from you, but it may be where you, because being a church, you've got just a number of different factors or pathways of connection. And you might find someone that can really reach out, or a group of individuals that can come around a lady, or a group of men that can come around a man involved, or individuals who attend the same school and can connect with the kids through that source. I've challenged our kids to just start praying and emailing friends at school that they miss and let them know that they miss them. Let them know they're praying for them. What a great opportunity. Anyway, all those kinds of things probably could help.
Thank you, Norv.
Go ahead, Jesse. Go ahead, Jesse.
Grief share. This ministry has been going on at our church, and I don't know if there's one of those in your community, and whoever heads that up in the community, just again, let them know, try to connect them maybe with that person. And that's been helpful here. We have had a grief share group, but doesn't meet, of course, right now, but that's been really helpful for me when I've connected with families, and then just connect the family with the leader of that group, and it's been helpful. So I don't know if other churches do grief share, or it's in the community, because that's been really beneficial. So.
Just something I would personally say in my pastoral ministry experience, and I don't really know where I'm going here, but I know where I'm starting, is that when kids have lost their parents in my ministry, every single time, or when kids have died in my ministry, I don't know if there's a single instance where I look back and I said I did a perfect job shepherding the family through that, or where I don't feel, and I'm not a guy who carries guilt at all, but I don't know if those are the situations in ministry where I feel the most inadequate, and the most like I can't do what they need to do. I think some of that leads me to think about the way Paul starts a lot of his letters, where he just says he yearns for them, he longs for them, his heart breaks for them. And I think that drives me to consistent prayer, hopefully. Whenever a family falls into my mind, and it's been 3 years since mom died tragically, and they've drifted away from the church and they're hurting, there's only so much I can do. But I can pray. And it's such a spot in my heart that breaks pastorally, and that I wrestle with, that I want to grow in. But I also know that I'm just wholly inadequate. So thank you for the way that you've been reaching out to those families and those kids, and for the way that your heart is breaking for them, and the way you want to enter into their messiness and their brokenness. Yeah, I don't have anything other than it's just so hard. So and what a hard time to walk through that too. I'm sorry.
School counselors may be another option. I don't know if there is, but might be another option. Any other questions let's move to another question you might have. We have about 8 minutes, 7 minutes left.
Have you guys equipped small groups to Zoom call, or do a couple of you mentioned stuff like that? How's that gone? I know my daughter tonight will get on her second Zoom call. She's in 3rd grade with her leaders, which is just, it's been an absolute blessing to watch that. And that's been leader led, which is so cool. I love my volunteers, but anyone else had success or seen that happen?
My junior high 12-year-old is connecting. One of the challenges, Dave, is does he want to? Part of the question I think I'm dealing with, and as I've talked to student ministry leaders last week, how many want to? And I think that's the challenge. And I think we have to pray through. A couple of you said this, how much is too much? Do they really want to? Is it parent driven? I think it's a combination. And so we're driving our grandson. Yeah, we want you on that, because I think it's good for him, and parents are doing the same. So just thinking through that a little bit. How do you do that, and what's proper, I think, but it works. I'm amazed. I'm learning more and more from my junior high grandson about how to use stuff on the internet.
Well, and I would say that's an area that we have leg up on the youth ministry. My youth pastors, the guys at staff, talked a lot about the lack of consistent engagement from teens because of how their lives are structured and things like that. But kids, which is easier to be parent driven, and they're just a little bit more, engaged or present to an extent. I felt blessed to be working with kids right now and not teens. I usually feel blessed to be working with kids and not teens, but in particular now.
When you do your small group Zooms, what kind of content do you go through, or how do you equip your volunteers or your staff to do that? Because we've talked about doing this, but the tricky part for us is that we span 3 services, and we have different leaders for each week of the month, and we don't have that ideal small group experience for our kids all the time. We've got a couple sets of teams that are ideal, but we just don't see consistency in attendance between all the services. They're sometimes at 5:30, sometimes they're at 9. How do you equip whoever's facilitating that Zoom conference with your kids? Talk through what that would look like.
Well, yeah, and that's whenever we talk about children's ministry, I forget we have so many different contexts for everything. So I want to do this for our Sunday school or our Sunday kids stuff because it's that same different teachers, different kids. This applies to our midweek program where we have very set small groups. So handbook groups, if you do Awana, that could work in that. One of the things that I'm starting to jump on Zoom calls just with kids who just want to say hi. And I'm not I'm not a super relational. I work through the volunteers who work through the kids, whatever. But scavenger hunts too, home scavenger hunts, has been something that I've seen has been a lot of fun. Like they go get this, and it's a race for different kids to go find that and bring it back. Just talking about their day too. And also, I think the expectation of not having it like 30 minutes or 15 minutes, if it's just a touch point, it doesn't have to be an hour, and there doesn't have to be teaching content either. There really doesn't. Relational.
We've let the kids really drive some of our Zoom, and it's been really fun to watch them just interact with each other, ask themselves questions. We have a couple adults just to kind of make sure it's going okay, but the kids really take it over.
Beka, where are you at? Curious. Are you with Dave?
I'm at Spring Lake in Green Bay.
Oh, Green Bay, that's right. How long have you been there?
Almost 2 years already. It's gone really fast.
Thanks for joining us. Can you quick share what you're doing there? We already kind of went through everybody sharing, but we've got just about 2 minutes left, and I'll give you a chance to quick share what you're doing at Spring Lake.
Yeah, sorry, I have a toddler, so I was doing toddler. It sounds like we're doing a lot of the same as Dave. Our Sunday morning, I'm sending out on Saturday night the content, a video lesson, and stuff for the families to really go through Sunday lesson. And then our Awana groups are using Zoom, and it's going really well.
Any specific content that you're using at all?
On Sunday morning, we're using Gospel Project. And then for Awana, our teachers are Facebook Living to our Facebook page, the lesson for the week. And then we interact around that lesson kind of for Zoom, but pretty much it's just letting the kids be kids and talk. And we've done a couple scavenger hunts. It's been a lot of fun. So, but when you try to tell third graders what to do on Zoom, it doesn't go well. But if you let them just be third graders, it goes really well.
Good.
We've also set up 2 parent Zooms so that the parents can just interact. We as staff have not done anything, just set up the Zoom call, and the parents have kind of bantered back and forth as far as what's working and what's not.
Excellent. Well, that's great. Beka, would you throw your email quick up on our chat there function, if you wouldn't mind? I'm gonna have notes from today, and I will also make this recording available in case you want to go back and listen to it, or you want to connect with somebody that was on here. This was really just great to see all of you, to connect with you. Our goal in the district is to connect, equip, and multiply. And you guys sure are on the front lines, and we really appreciate all you're doing. And so I want to thank you for joining us today. I'm hoping that down the road we can do this again. So you guys have a great day, and we're going to end the call, and I'll end the recording, and you have an awesome day.